With PVM gear having doubled or sometimes tripled in price, it can be hard for mid-level players to imagine saving up for such expensive weapons. But what if I told you you could get something similar for much less money? In this video we're going to cover some budget PVM weapons, so whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're going to start off by talking about two weapons which are actually 6 weapons, although being the weakest weapons in this video. The Sun Spear is a tier 78 tribrid weapon, meaning you can change it to melee, magic, and ranged. This weapon can also be augmented, and it's used for Firewatch multi-training as it gives you extra experience for cremating Vire corpses. If interested, a guide will be linked in the description below. The Sun Spear is unlocked from, wait, what quest was it again? Let's wiki it. Ah, the River of Blood. That's a good looking browser, right guys? It's called Opera GX. Opera GX is the world's first browser tailored specifically for gamers. It has everything you'd want in one place. This browser has a variety of cool features, but my favorite by far is the Force Dark Mode feature, which quite literally forces every single website into dark mode, saving your precious eyes. We all know how much RAM some browsers love to eat. Well, guess what? Opera GX Control allows you to limit CPU, RAM, and bandwidth usage. In GX Control, you can see what tabs are using the most CPU or RAM, and you can easily close them with a click of the button using the Hot Tab Killer. The browser also has a really cool homepage feature called GX Corner that allows you to see what games are about to release, which games are currently free on a variety of platforms, and where you can get the best deals for popular games. Opera GX allows you to customize the browser to your liking with backgrounds, preset colors, and so on. Remember how I mentioned this browser was for gamers? Well, you can integrate both Twitch and Discord in the browser for easy access. Let me know what you guys think, and be sure to check it out by downloading it for free in the description below. The Vanquish is a weapon that can be received after allocating 150 quest points to the combat track at the May Quest Caravan near the Varrock Lodestone. This weapon is a tier 75 tribrid weapon, meaning you can switch from melee, ranged, or magic, and it will also give you 5% more damage, up to a total of 25% more damage against quest bosses every time you die. So this weapon is not only a good starter weapon, but also great for any quest bosses you're going to be taking on. What's even cooler, you get tribrid armor that scales up to level 75 defense after allocating 125 quest points to the combat track as well. Chaotic weapons are a type of weapon that require 80 dungeoneering, but if you're a returning player, getting the amount of tokens required for these weapons is actually quite easy through Elite Dungeon 1 token farming. I'll leave a guide linked in the description below. Now, chaotic weapons might seem like dead content, but do not be mistaken, they're still tier 80 weapons, and they have a fairly acceptable amount of accuracy and damage that will do for a good chunk of content. That being said, if you can get equal tier weapons for a few million GP if the prices change over time, you'd want to get those instead. In my opinion, a really good choice for chaotic weapons would be the crossbow, simply because ranged weapons are expensive and these are augmentable weapons, and tier 80 duel with crossbows are actually fairly good. As for the staff, maybe not so interesting because you can get a staff of Limitless Air, which is a tier 82 magic weapon for like 8 mil. The spear isn't a bad choice if you want to do Corporal Beast, but as for the other melee weapons, you can basically get the same thing for much less money and time invested because you don't need to go ahead and token farm, because the mining and smithing rework added other tiers of metal, being Bay Knight and Elderrune, and those are very cheap. If you have 90 attack, Elderrune weapons will be better than Chaotix. As for Bay Knight plus 4 weapons, they're slightly worse, so not really that exciting. So these chaotic melee weapons are not that interesting. You mainly want to go for these if you're going for magic or ranged, as those weapons are a lot more expensive. Another type of weaponry that is actually quite interesting is crystal equipment, being tier 70 unless enchanted. Crystal equipment can be worn after the Roving Elves quest, and if you have an attuned crystal weapon seed in 2000 harmonic dust, level 90 smithing, and you've completed the Eyes of Galufri quest, you can create an attuned version of these weapons, and these have level 80 stats. A cool fact about the attuned crystal weapons is that you deal more damage the higher your agility level is, up to a maximum of 3% at level 99 agility, making some of these weapons better than their other tier 80 counterparts. Let's have a look at combat style specific budget weapons. Let's start by looking at magic weapons. Limitless Staves are tier 82 magic weapons which are created by adding a elemental impetus, which costs around 7.4 million GP on the GE, to a regular mystic staff of air, water, earth, and so on. This is an irreversible little process, but these weapons can be augmented, which means they can be used with invention, and they're tier 82 for only 7.4 million GP. You can quite literally make that in, let's say, around 3 to 4 hours at Chickens in free to play. Now, if you want to get into bossing, you're going to need high accuracy. The next weapon on this list has exactly that. Tier 90 accuracy being on par with Seismic's and a Noxious Staff, but at a fraction of the cost. I'm of course talking about the Wand and Orb of the Cyreware Elders, costing around 19 million GP for the full set, and requiring level 85 magic to use. There's a small catch though, this weapon only has tier 80 magic weapon damage, though that tier 90 accuracy does more than make up for it when bossing, because if you are splashing, you aren't dealing any damage at all. In my opinion, this is an excellent weapon set for the cost to get into bossing. Budget ranged weapons are actually hard to come by, as all budget weapons have literally surged in price. A Wyvern crossbow or Decimation are now so expensive I can't really call them budget weapons any longer. Two cheap weapon examples if you have some cash are dual armored crossbows at tier 75 or a Zarite bow at tier 80. That being said, the only reason you'd have to buy these weapons is if you don't have the required dungeoneering level to get chaotic crossbows, or the smithing level and questline complete to create attuned crystal weapons. The only real ranged budget weapon left will always be the two-handed level 80 Royal Crossbow, costing around 500k to create. Now this weapon must be brandished at the Queen Black Dragon, which can be a little hassle if you've never bossed before. The process to create this weapon requires the Song of the Depths quest, 60 summoning, and level 70 smithing. As for other ranged weapons like the hand cannon and stuff, yeah, you can buy them, but you're probably better off getting chaotics or attuned crystal weapons, or just sticking to that Royal Crossbow until you can afford something better. As for melee weapons, we have a variety of choices, first of which being the Blade of Avarice and Blade of Nimora. Now these weapons are much like the Cyreware set with tier 90 accuracy but tier 80 damage. Definitely a good choice and only costs around 7 million GP. We also have Ripper Claws, which cost around 2.5 mil per set. Now these do have lower accuracy and damage, but these do give you some extra damage depending on how much health the monster has remaining that you are attacking. You really can't go wrong with these for the price, and you can easily upgrade a few hours later to something else, which is better, like the Fury Blades. The next weapon is the absolute best thing you can buy for 6.6 million GP currently, being the Masuda's War Spear. This is a tier 82 halberd type weapon, meaning it gives you extra range when using AoE abilities, perfect for Slayer or training combat. This weapon is exactly the same as a Dragon Rider Lance or Noxious Scythe, except that it has lower stats. This is why this weapon is so good, and it's versatile and can be used pretty much anywhere. The next weapon on this list is Superior Vestus Spear, being a degradable T88 two-handed melee weapon that can be augmented. Now this weapon is made by upgrading a regular Vestus Spear with an Ancient Warriors equipment patch. This will cost you around 30 million GP. This is definitely not a bad weapon, although it doesn't have the halberd range and capabilities of the Masuda's War Spear, and that's the reason why I would personally just stick to the Masuda's War Spear if you're doing Slayer, and not even bother with this weapon, but it is an option and it is out there. Do keep in mind that this weapon does degrade to dust. Finally, how could you go wrong with Elder Rune plus 5 weaponry, or perhaps Bay Knight plus 4 weaponry? These are weapons that are slightly worse than their counterparts, but these can be created with the smithing skill, ideal for Iron Man, or just buy them off the Grand Exchange, and they aren't really expensive. You can get two-handed weapons or dual-wield longswords. Honestly, I think these are the best bang for your buck you can get, and they're really easy to get. It's an absolute joke how easy you can get these high-tier melee weapons compared to ranged or magic. There is one catch though, these weapons cannot be augmented, which means you cannot benefit from extra damage from invention perks. Though if you don't have invention unlocked yet, these will still be a really good option. And with that being said, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed and found it helpful, and if you're looking for some more advanced guides on getting geared up for higher level PVM, check out my gearing guides linked in the description below. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.